So we can start with it with the template because PlanXcel will work only on a template which is defined. Um, so we can load or we can create a new template. And once the template is created, if you want to do any editing on that, we have to use this edit functions, one which we can bring in the different columns, we can sort it, and then we can rearrange it. Then we have, okay, I'll create one sample first, then we can go into the details. So once you click on this Excel templates, Plan Excel templates, it will show you what are the available templates. So you can also save any previous templates what you have created, so that loading can be faster. Or you can create a template from the scratch. So these are the minimum 5 columns required in order to start with working on Plan Excel. So there will be a starting with an ID title and then start and finish with an activity type. So wherever you see a star, this is an auto-calculated column, and we should keep it blank or keep it for the Plan Excel to do the work. So based on this, there are other calculations linked to it, and then it will work accordingly. So I'll start with a simple one with no additions. I will create it. So this will create a template now, and with the input columns, and this is the current calendar. So the current default calendar is a monthly calendar. It will be roughly a year. And depending upon on which time you are creating the template, the dates will accordingly change. So once we have the data here, we can start inputting the informations. I'll just create few. We can use Excel formulas to do the calculations, and also for coming up with some dates. Later, this formulas may be converted to values depending upon what calculations you are doing. But for creating the schedule and all those things, you can use this formulas. So once we have the minimum amount of data, we can click on the Gantt chart, which will create the Gantt chart for us. So this is how the Gantt charts are prepared. So depending upon what type of activities and what you are doing, you can calculate the durations, and then we can put the dates. Whichever way is possible for you, we can do like that. And based on if you want to bring any additional columns, we can use the edit functions because we already created the template. We can use the edit functions. So this is how the Gantt charts can be created. Now I'll start giving more data to it. I'll add 2 more columns. This is the early start, and then we have an early finish. Oh, I'm sorry. Hello. Okay, I'll add the plan start and plan finish. So this has created 2 more columns for us. And let's create a plan those 7 days before, just for a namesake. So we have 2 dates now. For each activity, we have 2 dates. One is the current dates and one is the planned dates. So we can see both of them also in the Gantt chart. I'll just increase the size of those rows. Okay. When you click on the Gantt chart, you can see the planned dates bars also came in. So you can see how the dates have changed, and because of that, you can see the shift in the bars. So this is also can be used for comparison of any schedules. If you have 2 schedules, you have one, and then you can bring it using a VLOOKUP or something, and then you can see visually where the items are changed and how much it has changed on a visual basis. So this is another tool for creating those comparisons. Okay, fine. And now let's move on to see the other features. So we have something called the rename sheets. Because whenever PlanXcel is creating one template, it is creating in the backend one more sheet. It is called an option sheet. So it's a blank sheet, but it is required for saving all your settings, what you are going to do with this PlanXcel template. So we have a lot of settings. We'll come through in the settings in detail. Um, so whenever you are changing the sheet name, in order to have a proper linking between these two, always the sheet name should be changed through this rename sheets. So this will make sure that your sheet name is also changed and also the linked sheet name also changed. But if you're losing at any point of time this link, then PlanXcel will not work. Even if you have the PlanXcel tools, this template will not work. So if you are sharing with your any colleagues or anything, and you don't want to see how they are calculating all of this, then if you simply give only this sheet, they can only see the data out, but they cannot work on that data. Fine. Then we have something called the identify columns, because as you see here, these are all the defined columns. There are so many defined columns in PlanXcel. So once you have the names, you can change the names of those columns. What is to be displayed in your schedules. So once you, for example, this particular ID, it was actually activity ID. So if you lose the track of those column names, what was it originally? Because if you go to reordering and all those things, you may lose the track. So at any point of time, if you want to know what it is that column was originally meant for it, you click on this identify columns, then this will bring back the original column names for you so that you can track and then adjust based on whatever way you want to clear it off. Then we have options for duplicating this template. So once you are working on this template and then you want to duplicate for any other scenarios, for example, you want to change the calendar or something, or you want to do some analysis, some other distributions, you can use the duplicate functions where which it will create an exact copy of the same thing. And then you can modify the second template accordingly. So in the same file, you can create any number of templates. So and all each the template sheet will have an option sheet beside it just to support it for all the settings what you are seeing. Then once you have templates created, then if you want to move to any new sheets, we can use the move functions. And also for deletion of those templates, we can use the delete also. This will delete both the linked sheets. So now we are back to only one template in this. So this is the um, um this is commencement of the PlanXcel templates, how it can be created and how you can edit it. As you move forward, we'll bring in more columns, we'll bring in more data, and then I'll explain one by one what is the functions of each columns. So this way only you'll understand, because each function, each columns have definite functions, and the calculations are all linked with those defined column names. Okay, up to this, any clarifications?
Yeah. For example, this activity one, the start date you have put as 15th February.
Yeah,
Instead of 15th February, if you put 15th Jan
yeah,
and click this Gantt chart function, it
yeah.
will automatically include January here.
No, it will, here what will happen when you click on it, whenever there is some errors with respect to the expected inputs, PlanXcel will tell you what is that. For example, in this case, you can see, as it's rightly said, the date is already out of the calendar, what is already been defined. So here it will tell us that either you can correct the start date or you can extend the calendar period. So for that, you can change the calendar period. So for that functions, we have in the settings one dedicated tag called calendar, where in which we are talking about the calendar start date, finish date. So here we can change that to say January. Okay, once you have given a new start calendar date, you click on apply changes. The new calendar has came in now. Now you can
Oh,
again click on Gantt chart. Now your schedule is okay now.
okay. Thanks.
Okay, so like this, you can do it for any calendar. Same like this. If I want to change it to a weekly one, I can change it to a weekly one. Now, the weekly one, if I show this, it will not be clear. So we need to change the format of this data also. So we need to change that one by using the select format of those dates. So we can use any of these. For example, we can use this one. for showing this one, or we can show only the dates. And I'll talk about this only D at a later stage. Now let's keep it as this one and click on it, apply. Now the calendar has been changed to weekly calendar now.
Okay.
Okay. Now you can again click on Gantt chart. Now you have the Gantt chart related to the weekly calendar. So, and you can all customize all of these column width and all, no problem. PlanXcel will take it accordingly. So every time whenever you're changing the width, the only thing is that we have to click it again, so that because the auto sizing may not be exact, but only this one will give a correct location of those bars. Yeah, anything more?
Jagdish, one question.
Yeah,
If I add one more row in above the 10, row number 9 something, you are inserting something, then
yeah,
after scheduling, what will
yeah.
happen?
So because as I told you, there is some fixed rules which has to be followed. So when I'm inserting a row here, what is happening? My header row has shifted from 10 to 11. Okay. So PlanXcel has already defined those things in this settings. For example, in general, we have the schedule heading row at 10. So if I'm putting it 10 and then if the header is at 11, there will be an error. It will not work. So you can either change this thing to 11 and then it works as normal, right? So if you want to do any changes, you have to understand that yes, you have to do a small change, settings change, and then it will work normally. So from this time onwards, the header will be always on 11, and then can work as normal. That's it.
Okay.
But do not delete any rows or do not delete any columns. That is the most important thing because it will lose its track with respect to the location of those individual items. For example, when we look from the general point of view, we have saying that the scheduling heading is starting on 11th. And because of that, and we are expecting to have 10,000 rows for calculations. If your schedule is more than that, you need to change this one as well. And then currently we have selected around seven columns for your inputs. And then we have option for additional input columns as well. And the calendar heading is starting from column H. So if you want to have any additional columns, you can do that. You can insert additional columns by hand. And then you change this column so that this calendar starting matches with the calendar starting of the PlanXcel template. We'll come to that. I'll show you how that also has to be done. So in normal cases, when you want to do any insertion of the columns, you use the edit function, where in which you can add uh, up to this defined columns are there. Then we have user defined columns up to 15. And then we can add additional any number of user defined columns only for input data. So I can do like this also. I can add additional 3 columns and this will add additional 3 columns. And now if you check your calendar locations, now it has been shifted to K. So when you're doing the things using the PlanXcel tools, automatically everything will work the way you want it. But if you're doing anything manually, for example, if I'm doing it here, an extra column, now the item has moved, and then the PlanXcel is expecting the calendar starting from column K, and here it is starting from L. So what you have to do is that you can change the 3 to 4. This will change the column locations now to L. And then this also will now work normal. So there are, once you understand the settings, then it is easy for you to play around with this template.
Yeah, that's what. Because now the error also is not showing. We will be confused with that errors.
Clear,
So,
clear.
yeah, that's it. All right, good.
Okay. Anything else now, or shall I move forward? Okay, fine. So now let's start to do something more. We'll start using the WBS feature of PlanXcel. So when you're talking about WBS, we are familiar with the P6 WBS structure, and also in MSP also we have the WBS. So PlanXcel works similar to MSP. For example, if I have some activities like this and I want to create this as a WBS, I need to select them and then click as one level down. So in order to use these features, these are two additional columns PlanXcel requires. So automatically, whatever is required, PlanXcel can bring it. If you say yes, it will bring it. So you can see that two more columns have been brought in. So this will bear the information related to the WBS. So I'll take again the same activities and then I'll go to move one down. So this has created an WBS for us, saying that this many activities have been moved. If you want to have some indents of these WBS items, you have one option in here, indent activity titles.
Is what? In
Hello?
Excel, you can make that lesson.
Hello? Okay. So now you can see that it has already moved. So you can create WBS like this. So if you want to create one more WBS, so you can create as many number of WBS you want. Up to 10 WBS it can take. So what is the main difference between this and this is that it will in the activity type. You can see now all these columns are filled up. So this all the WBS has been shifted as summary, and then these are activities are shifted as activities. So all the distributions or resources, whatever you're going to do, will be done only on these activity levels, and it will not be done on the summary levels. So this is the basic difference between the activity types, summary, and the others. Okay, fine. And then whatever roll up now, if I run this update WBS, what will happen is that earlier these are individual dates. Now this will bear the dates from the child. You can see everything has shifted to 18th February. And if I run this schedule now, you can see I'm not able to see the WBS bars. Only the plan bars are there, right? Now we can bring the WS bars also by adding it in the bars. So we have all the customization on the bars tab. So we have a dedicated line for the WBS. We can specify what is the WBS bar size. And you can again put on the Gantt chart. Now the WBS bars have been brought in. So the one good thing is that whenever you have a comparison with respect to the original dates, it can show even in the WBS bars also. So that we can see in one go where exactly the change has happened. So this is how the WBS will work. And then this WBS, update WBS has to be clicked every time whenever you want to roll in the data from the child. And also if you want to take it back any activities, okay, you can also do the same thing by using the level up, which will again go back to your original activities. And then again, you can use it for the calculations. So that is the WBS feature of PlanXcel. Then we have the WBS feature of P6. This I'll take in a very detailed way because all the things what we are going to do as seen as enhancement, this is a major factor for it, where how we can use the P6 schedule itself and how we can blend it into a PlanXcel and then do the working on it. I'll take a deep dive on it. So for the time being, I'll try to cover all the others, then we'll come to this. Then we have a dedicated tab for the calendars. We can define different types of calendars. We have seen the calendars here, but this calendar is related to how you want to summarize the data in terms of weekly or monthly. But you can also define the calendars with respect to the holidays or any specific working days or a specific working holidays. So all this also can be set in. So if you want to create a new calendar, yeah, what you can do is that you can duplicate the existing one with a new one. For example, a 6-day calendar. So a 6-day calendar has been come in, and now we can say that which day is holiday. For example, I'm setting Sunday as a holiday. And once I save it, so this calendar, wherever I'm going to use it, it is going to use a 6-day calendar. Similarly, you can create a 5-day calendar. and say that Saturday and Sunday is also holiday and save it. We have one option called the default calendar. So if you say you are setting any particular calendar as a default calendar, then without assigning itself, the same calendar will be used for the calculations. So when I say about calendars being used, one main usage of the calendar is related to the resource distribution. When you're going to distribute the resources, the holidays will be omitted if you use any calendars with holidays. So calendar currently you can see whenever I have taken this thing, this already checked as default calendar. So whatever is currently there is of a full working day calendar. We'll see the details once I load the resources. So in order to see a resource distribution, we can use the show distribution method. I missed this date format. It is only the for changing of the format using these functions directly. We have seen the change of formats using the calendar settings, but this way also, if you want to do it quickly, you can do it here also. Either way, it will work. Now we will try to see the resource distribution. So in order to distribute a resource, you require a distribution values. So this is the distribution values. You can do distribution in terms of two different methods. One method is called the fixed values, where in which depending upon the durations you are setting in terms of start and finish, the quantity what you're setting it will be continuous. There is no change in the quantity irrespective of whatever activity you are doing. So that is the fixed values. This is mainly used when you are going to do, you are going to use deployments in terms of equipment, where in which irrespective of whether the concrete is there or not, you need a concrete machine. So like that, if you want to use it, you can use the fixed values method. But in most of the cases, we use our distribution values, where in which we change the distribution based on the durations what you are setting, and also the type of calendar what we are going to see here. So I'll bring this distribution values now. Okay, so the distribution values, I have it now. I'll just plug in few numbers. So I have just plugged in a total of 1,200. Yes, Prem, you want to ask now?
Yeah, actually, I'm being disconnected in between due to some network issue. I just want to know how you created that WBS bar for the different colors in the concept.
Okay, fine, no problem. So we have the options here in the bars. We have one setting in the settings, there is one specific called bars. And in the bars, we have three default ones. One is the WBS, one is the current bar, which is the blue one, and one is the planned bar. These three are default. But if you are giving a size, then only it will get displayed. So earlier, normal cases, WBS bars, the sizes are given 0. So unless and until you want to see it, you can see here. If you want to hide the bar, you can enter a 0, and then that you can hide them. Otherwise, if you give a size for it, then it will automatically get displayed based on the current dates. So this way you can use the different bars. Then there are further bars. I'll come to that once I have some more data in. I'll show you other features of adding more different bars. Is that clear, Prem?
It's clear. Thank you.
Okay, now we have brought in the resource distribution values. So this is around 1,200 I want to distribute against the durations I have here. So for that, we can click on the show distribution. So this will change the bars, and then it will remove the bars and then bring in only the values. So now you can see that these are all based on the linear distributions, because we have given, they are not defined any particular curves what is to be used. So it has used a linear distribution for it. And it is a weekly calendar, and it is a odd day working calendar, and because of that, all days are working, and it is giving a uniform number. In this number, you can see there is a difference. You can see there is some is 12, some is 11, because in the settings there is one setting which is asking to say that to show only full values. So that means whenever you have a decimal number, it will wait for a complete value and then it will only show the number. That is where you are getting a 12 and then 11, then 12 like that. So if you don't want to see that, and if you want to have an exact number, then you can remove this and you can go for the short distribution. Now you have exact same values all over, because you are using the same calendar, same durations for the calendar dates. you should get exactly the same. The only difference is that now you have a decimal values. So if you're talking about some manpower or something, decimal values are not recommended. So in such cases, or if you're talking about some spools, completion of spools, it should not have decimal numbers. So in such cases, this settings comes in handy, where in which you can hide all those decimals, and then you will seeing only the whole values. Now, as I said, we are seeing here as a linear distribution. So we don't want to have a linear distribution. We normally go for a bell curve if you want to have a smooth curves. Then that settings also can be done. For that, you can go back to again settings, and then we have something called the curves. So in this curves, we have a default four curves. One is the linear, one is the bell, one is the backloaded, and the front loaded. So if you want to click on the linear, you can see that these are all same for all the set of durations for the 10 intervals. It is taking all of them together, same. But if you go for the bell, it will be something like this, then backloaded, then front loaded. Then if you want to create your own distributions, you define it, but only make sure that the number totaling to 1. That is the only requirement. Rest everything, however you want to have the distributions, you can define it and you can assign it. So how to assign it? For the assignments, you have to again bring in your defined column called curve ID. So you can bring in this curve ID. Now the curve ID column is here, and then you can select which curve you want to apply. For example, if I want to apply the 2 curve, show distribution, and you can see how the thing has changed. Now it has taken as a backloaded one. If I change it into 1, which is the bell curve, now it has changed to a bell curve, going up and then coming down. So depending upon how we want to do the resource leveling, we can use this curves. So as I said, whenever you are bringing any columns, and if you don't want to see them, don't delete them, please hide them, so that all the functions will remain as it is, and then you can still do the same amount of things what you want to do it. So always it's all click and swap. So if you want to see Gantt chart, you click on Gantt chart. If you want to see the distributions, you click on distributions. And if you want to see both, that is also possible, where in which you have the bars on top of it, and then you have the distribution below it, and you can even hide them as well. So if you hide the distributed values, what is happening is the data is there, okay, but you will not be able to see it. But if you do any summarize, that will come to now. Once you do the summarize, all those things will be captured, but you will not see visually in your scheduling. Then we have something called calculate. I'll come back to this calculate once we have more columns. This is for calculating all your summaries with respect to the WPS for the budgets, actuals, forecast, then the earned values, the planned values. For all those that we have to use this calculates. So as we move forward, we'll bring this on.
Jagdish, that the distribution, no? Just show me that distribution once again.
Yep.
The values.
Yes.
No, not that. On the sheet.
On the sheets. Okay. So if you want to bring anything back, you can again remove this. Now we have this distribution. Yes.
Yeah. My question is, so the third you'll see 1, 12, 11, total. Why that distribution is different? It's showing.
This is what I said just now. This is because in the settings we are given a distribution requirement as show only whole values.
Okay.
So when I'm showing whole values.
Yeah, show me the whole value.
Okay, if I remove the show whole value,
yeah,
it will give you exactly the same numbers.
Yeah, it's 11.5, everyone.
Yes, it should be 11.5, everyone.
But when you're showing the roundup,
it is not a roundup. No, it is not the roundup. It is not the round, because what is happening when you round up, what will happen? Your number will change. Because now if you see, then your number is always 1,200. This number is the total number what you have in your distribution.
No,
this is the total 1,200.
Jagdish, first is 1.64, then next one is 11.5, that become as a 12. Then next one is 11.5, that become as a 11.
This is what I said. This is what I said. This is not rounding off. What it will do is that it will take only the full value. For example, in this 1.64, it will take only one. And this 0.64 is shifted to the next column.
Okay.
So 11.5 plus the 0.64, it will give you 12.14, and it will take only 12. And that 0.14, it is again shifted down. So like that, it will shift until it has a full value.
Okay.
So this way, whenever you see the distribution, you will always get whole values. For example, you are doing some spooling, and then you are saying that I need to complete 10 spools. So you should not say that you should complete 11.5 spools. So either you will say you complete 11 spools, or you will say 12 spools. So this is the funda. So in order to have definite whole numbers, this feature is given. So if you don't want to have these numbers as a whole number, you can always use the Excel methods. We can always hide them by removing the decimals. This way also it will work. This also will be giving you 1200. But if you usually add them, it will not talk to 1200.
Okay.
So that is the only difference between these three methods.
All right.
Okay. Anything more? Any more clarification? Okay, I'll add one more feature. This is called the capture curve. For example, we have seen the different types of curves which we have, which can define. So now if you think that, for example, you are creating some summary, and then you know that in this summary, if I'm going to distribute, I have a pattern. For example, the pattern will be something like this. Whatever it may be pattern. So it gives a good value in the beginning, then goes down, then comes up, and then finish it like this. Then you can also select all this, and then you say capture curve. So this way, what will happen is that it will create a curve for you with the same type of distribution what you are asking for. So this is the curve it has been created now. And then we can assign this curve onto the activity what you want to use it. So this way you can see it is going up, coming down, and then going up again. So like this, you can have different methods of how the resource has to be deployed. So this is also another feature we have added. So if you are clear up to here, any doubts, I can clear, and then we'll move to the summarize and other things.
Instead of curve ID, can you make it the real description there?
Curve description.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, once you are familiar with this, we know what it is. The problem is that when you are giving a description, it is difficult because if you have one space extra or one space less, one text extra, then it is very difficult to track it. So that's why we are going with the ID. Yes, Prem.
Actually, you created a number of 10 to 5, 15, and 16. This is the way we are creating the user difference for the distribution, or this is what is this?
No, this is up to the user. Now the user is thinking that, for example, when we are working on certain commodities, some commodities are bigger, and then the usage, how the manovers or any particular item, how the progress will come in. It can differ. So rather than going into making a detailed micro plan, we can do it at a summary level itself, and we can use it. It is only an additional feature. It is not specifically we have to use it. If you want to do it, you can use it. That's the only purpose.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Now I hope I am clear up to here. Then we have the summarize functions. The summarize functions is the one which will be using it for dissecting the S-curves. I'll show you all in detail. For the time being, let's do a summary on the current template what we created here. So when you click on summarize all, it will summarize the entire thing whatever is there in the schedule. So if you don't want to summarize everything, we can go for the summarize selected. So if I go for summarize selected, then we will ask you what are the headings you want to have in the rows. So when I'm talking about summarize, it is actually creating a pivot table in the backend and then giving it to you for ready to use. You don't have to do any pivot table from here. It is creating straight away for you. So we can select the headings you want it. If you want to add any data columns against for the value field, You can use that also. You can always select from the headings, and you can use this calendars. And because normally when when you are creating the pivot table, the sum of count of things will come in. So we are removing everything with a space. Summarize selected. Yes, sir. Just- okay. We inserted one column earlier, and we didn't give a heading for it. Yes. Yeah. So this is why I said when we are inserting columns, it is better to do it through the edit template, which will create headings and all. So if you're, as you know, when you're creating pivot tables, if there's a heading missing, pivot table will throw an error. So this is what has exactly happened now. Okay. So now we have a summary straightforward with the items in this. Now, if you have any categories or code or anything, we can also bring in that in, and then we'll be able to see from where the load is coming in, which activity. So it's a straightforward summary. Now, if you think that we want to, now we are seeing only in terms of the resources as a quantity, right? Now, for example, I want to calculate the man hours or the manpower histogram. Let me make it as, or I'll, so I'll shift this one here. Just for the sake of calculations, I'm doing something. So this much number of man hours and the same man hours you want to distribute. Uh, So now the distribution has shifted to man hours. Now we are talking about total 12,000, sorry, 120,000 man hours, which is the sum of this. So if you click on this calculate, we should be seeing all the summaries. This is the 6,000 plus the 50,000 now, 11,000 man hours what we have. Show distribution will give you the summary. Now, if you want to create a histogram, manpower histogram, what you can do is that this is the man hours what you are expected to spend in this particular week. So you can use the summarize function. Yes, in the summarize functions, you can again do the same thing. You can select the heading and then the data columns. And again, same from the calendar columns. And you can do the calculations. So here we are going to divide. So just put only divide for the slash for the division. And if you're saying around 60 hours I'm working. So this is a straightforward manpower histogram, which will tell us how much manpower we need to deploy in order to be within this schedule based on the man hours what we have given here. So this is much more handy with respect to how we want to dissect it. The same is applicable when you want to create S curves that we'll see it in details now. So like this, you can use the summarize functions, in which you can do a calculation also. And this you cannot do it normally by normal pivot table, because what is happening is these are not normal value field, these are calculated fields. So in order to create calculated fields, every time you have to go one by one. So PlanXcel will create it in one single click. So that is the function of the summarize functions.